Hey everyone, I'm Alex, and welcome to The Roasted Mind, the show where we enjoy some coffee, have a conversation about self-help, personal interests, and growth, and express the thoughts that can be a bit harder to discuss. So, have a seat, grab a cup of coffee, let's talk. Good morning, everybody. Welcome again to another Saturday where the weather is cold, but the coffee is hot. Well, in this case today, the coffee is cold too, but you can have it any way you like, right? Today, I have an ube Viet coffee, and this is a nice coffee that I really haven't made in a while. The Vietnamese coffee is one that I particularly enjoy, but it's not so much a hassle to make. I just don't really make it often, and especially with my new espresso machine that I've recently got, I'm making more of that rather than anything else. And I think that's really great. How I have kind of this versatility in my home when only I want to say like 2 months ago I had maybe three options of making coffee, and now I have like five or six different ways that I could do it. And yeah, recently I've been really straying towards the espresso maker just because I feel like that's a little more of a craft to own. I feel like that's a lot more of it requires a lot more practice. It requires a lot more patience. If you don't get it right, you can definitely tell the difference. Whereas, let's say a Chemex pot, where if you don't really get it right, the difference is there, yeah, but that's really something you can really only taste if you've been drinking that kind of coffee for a while, which is a little kind of hard to stomach for some people. Some people don't like the very acidic taste of a Chemex pour over brew. Whereas in the espresso coffee, you can really taste the sourness or the real kind of pungent flavor if you get it wrong. Or if you get it right, then the house smells great. You really get that caramel, real chocolate notes of whatever espresso beans you're brewing. Maybe it's a fruitier bean, maybe it's something else. So it's really great to be able to own a craft like that. But I wanted to go a little simpler today. I wanted to really do something that I really do enjoy and that I haven't done in a while. And so I made Vietnamese coffee, which I've explained the process before. I had the fin I used. I had to wash it. I had to dedust it. Get off the cobwebs of that old machine. And I made an ube foam. And with the ube foam, I used the ube ice cream that was gifted to us from Isabel's mom, actually. And she gave us like this huge Tupperware of like the foam. It's this real big Tupperware of the foam, or of the ice cream. And I just kind of melted it over some fire in an aluminum cup and poured it over my drink. And it tastes great. It tastes really, really great. It's a drink that I should honestly make a lot more often. And sorry, it's Cleo right now. She was just scratching the chair, and Isabel's trying to be really quiet, and she sneakily shoots this little water spray bottle at her, and I just see Cleo dart across the kitchen. So, sorry for that for that interruption, but. Yeah, anyways, this is something that this is a new drink that I particularly built on an old interest because I've had an interest in Vietnamese coffee for a while, and I do like, I've recommended before the Vietnamese coffee from Seven Lee's or Lee's Sandwich Shop if you want one of those or wherever else you can get it. This is an old interest that I've had, and it's something that I never really thought I would like because growing up, I never really drank coffee. And then when I drank coffee, when I started to drink it, they were sweeter drinks. They weren't particularly bitter. And this is made from a very bitter coffee. But with the sweetened condensed milk and the ube foam, it's very sweet. It is very sweet, but I still like to get that cut of the coffee in. I do like a stronger mouthfeel when it comes to these drinks. And with this, I get it. I get it. And that's my like kind of new age coffee interest, and that's like a flavor profile I've definitely been getting into for the past, I want to say, like year or so. It's definitely a flavor profile that I didn't really like all that much up until probably about a year or so. And hell, I think when you can really taste the coffee and you can really evaluate what you like in a drink, then you can start experimenting with all these different flavors and all these different sugars and creamers and whatever else you want to add. So but adding ube to this, which is something that I only started doing in these past couple months because I've had the ice cream, and every time I have it, I use it. I put it, if I make an espresso, I'll make like a foamy milk with the ube. In this case, I added the ice cream on top of the Viet coffee. Sometimes I'll blend it with some oat milk and add it to a mocha pot, and that's the kind of milk that I add to it. Having that new interest is very it's a nice change, right? It's hard to explain it because I don't want to sound so redundant in saying that, oh, this is nice, and oh, you really should do that, and wow, this is great because it's a new change. It's a change that you really have to explore. This is a change that you really have to know what you like, or in the sense be willing to open up to what you like. I never knew that ube would be one of my favorite or one of my um flavors that I would be interested in. You know, I really like ube. I like ube ice cream. I like ube flavoring. But growing up, I didn't have ube in my household. You know, in Hispanic households, that's not really an option. It's usually like strawberry this and chocolate this and cinnamon. But so having this kind of new ube flavor is incredibly great. I feel kind of grateful to be able to try this. You know, it's not something, but especially with the rise of these kind of newer Asian flavors that are really taking popularity, this is something that I, I will take away from this. I do enjoy this. I can't even lie. I do very much enjoy this. And the exploration of new avenues isn't particularly something that should be fearful. You know, in this case, it's not fearful because it's just a drink, right? But in other things, right? Let's say you're going out in public and you're doing more things in public. You're doing something solo, or you're starting a new hobby, but you have to make new friends in that group. Otherwise, you're gonna lose interest. Maybe you feel very embarrassed to say that you're interested in this, or to be able to physically note these changes that everybody else has been going through, and you're a little late to the party. It shouldn't be fearful in order for you to go to these new avenues. You should be able to kind of embrace the change, embrace the new you, in a sense, in what you like and what you want to do, and who you want to kind of build yourself up to be, and how you want to present yourself, how you want to introduce yourself, how you want to introduce your interests, and show yourself and tell yourself that I do enjoy these things. I don't just enjoy them because somebody else is telling me and pulling me into this. And maybe that is the case, right? Maybe somebody got you into, weightlifting or snowboarding. In my case, trading cards, maybe these are things that somebody else got you into, but at least you can kind of make it your own. And at least you can say that you tried this new avenue, and it's something that you thoroughly do enjoy. In my case, like I just mentioned, and I also mentioned this last episode, was I've been recently getting into a quote unquote brain dead hobby, is how I like to call it. And so this is the One Piece trading card game. And, every hobby that I've really had, every hobby or interest that I've really had for this whole year has been really something that I need to build towards and practice and get better at. There's piano, there's the espresso machine, there's this podcast. There's photography, videography, especially with the videos that I put out on TikTok. What else? What else? I'm trying to read more, and that's like a muscle. I'm like a stupid slow reader, so that's a muscle that I've been trying to tame for a while now. And so these kind of hobbies where I really need to try my best and really do my best and practice and practice and practice, they can take a toll. And the only kind of quote unquote brain dead hobby that I had is video games. And even then, I'm trying to get out of that because I feel like that's not really getting me anywhere. And there's only like a couple of games that I really do enjoy playing, and they're usually when other people are on. So having another quote unquote brain dead hobby, which I like to define it as a hobby that I can just really jump into and not really try so much. Yeah, there's practice that goes into it. Yeah, I can't just jump into a tournament of One Piece and expect to win just because I have the heart of the cards in my hand. It does require practice and it does require patience, but not as much to an extent as these other things. And these are hobbies that I really do want to just jump in and enjoy, jump in and have fun. If I lose, I lose, but at least I had fun doing it. If I win, then my kind of hobby interest increases, and I really do want to continue to pursue that hobby, these things. And so yeah, the One Piece trading card game is my new kind of quote unquote brain dead hobby, and it's a new avenue. I went to a card shop the other day, and I definitely was very nervous because it was a tournament. There was only 16 people, but these are out of those 16, 12 of them I didn't know. I was there with a group of 3 other people, and 12 of them I had no idea who they were. I had to introduce myself. I had to make friends, and especially when you know that community, because I had been in and out of card games, for the past ever since I really was in high school, but I never really took it as seriously as this one. And the communities are always so terrible. I mean, Yu-Gi-Oh had a terrible community. Pokemon was way too big over its head for me to join. Never really got into Digimon. Magic, never really got super big into Magic, but I would try them. Whereas in this case, they made it very easy for me to jump in. They made it very easy for me to play, and they could tell that I was a new player. They could tell, even though the game has been only out for a year, they could tell that I was relatively new to it. I started playing from the beginning, and then I dropped it for the rest of the year until recently when the new set came out. And so as we were playing, they were really taking it they were taking it kind of easy on me, I could tell, but it was all in the sense of, hey, you are new and we don't want to deter you from playing this game. We want you to have fun. That way you come back and you enjoy it and you learn more and more. I was actually playing with a guy. I only did 2 rounds because I had to leave early, but I was playing with a guy who his message really kind of stuck with me. And it's a reason why I didn't just drop it right then and there, because he told me, I was willing to lose for you. I was going to lose for you. So that way you enjoy the game. He said, I don't really care about losing, especially in an event like that, because it was more of a casual event, a sealed event. If you win a round, you get a pack. That's it. It wasn't like an actual tournament where you get like a whole box of booster packs. And he said, in this case, if I lose, what I lose? My chance at a pack. That's it. Whereas, what do you gain from it? You gain interest in this hobby. We gain another member of the community, which, like I said, is very, very nice. And they're very open. And I'm incredibly grateful that they were able to take me in and show me really what it was about. What it's like to jump into something new in a new community with a new group of friends and join a Discord chat and do this and that, and how really nice they are. And that's really what I got from that. What I got from those interactions with them. He also said, what's the point of being a dick? What's the point of being terrible to somebody who's so excited to jump into something new? The community doesn't grow that way. And that's how you get stigma. That's how you get the stigma of people saying, oh, that's why I don't play this, because the people there are trash and they don't shower and they stink and they're really rude and they think they're the best and all that. I haven't gotten that at all from this community. But I took that chance. I took that chance of jumping into the new avenue, that jumping into something that I'd never really done before. And jumping into something I haven't done before isn't necessarily something new to me. I feel like I do it pretty often. And that's because maybe this is a little bit of a self-diagnosis, right? Maybe it's not really true, but I kind of have a bit of an ADD, where, my attention is here for a bit and then all of a sudden it's boom, I lose interest in that and I want to go to something else. And it does happen often. It does happen often. I jump back and forth between photography, and I pay for a Lightroom subscription, even though I haven't touched it in like 2 months, 3 months. I keep saying that I want to jump off social media, and yet here I am. I want to buy more records, and I haven't bought any. And I usually get very passionate about these avenues for like a good week, a good week and a half, and then I just drop it and I jump into something new. So kind of jumping into something new isn't really, new to me. But what's new is the retention. And I think a part of that is attributed to this podcast, is because this was probably the biggest new avenue that I had jumped into the entire year. Being able to put myself out there in thoughts in public, and not on like a private Instagram profile, but put everything out there in public and really speak, be heard, and also listen in the process. Make friends, make connections. This is something that has kind of opened a lot of doors for me, in the sense of who I know, in the sense of what I'm able to do, in the sense of what I believe I'm able to do. And the more and more that I keep it up, the more I believe that I'm able to do. And the more that I believe I'm able to do, then the more that the more avenues I want to explore, the new kind of interests that I want to get into. And so this is an avenue that, I was jumping into the dark. I had no idea what the hell to do. I was looking for free programs to use. What was kind of like the most cost-effective software I could use, that would also get me the biggest results. Because I wasn't willing to spend thousands of dollars on equipment if I didn't know I was going to, stick to it. And now that I've already been in it for half a year, I think I'm coming up on 6 months. If not, I've already reached the 6 month point. I think I'm at the 7th month point. I think I already hit my 6 months. Anyways, these kind of, this avenue, this podcast really does show me what I'm capable of. And that can go for anything. That can go for any new thing that you wish to explore. Maybe you want to get into painting, and you never knew that you would be a good painter until you put that brush to the canvas. Maybe you want to get into coffee, and you never thought you'd be good at latte art until you started doing it. And then these kind of avenues turn into maybe a job or a career, or maybe something that you can show your friends. I feel like that's more important to me than getting money from it, right? Because I get no money from this show. I get no sponsors. I don't get donations. I got one donation, and albeit, it was a big chunk, which I do still greatly appreciate. By the way, that was like insane. That was amazing. I don't really get any money from this, but that's not really what I do it for. I do it for myself, to be able to tell myself that I can do it, that I'm able to explore a new avenue and stick with it. I do it for my friends. I do it for the recognition. I do it for their acknowledgement, for the fact that they know that I can do these things and that they believe that I can do them because I've done it. Most importantly, I kind of do it for satisfaction in everyone, right? In myself, friends and family, people I don't know who listen. If there are people I don't know who listen. These avenues aren't something that I particularly do for money or for interest. Getting back into piano that I've been doing for the past 2 months isn't something that I have been doing because I can make money from it, because I can play gigs. It's something that I want to do because I want to do it. And I think when you have that mindset, you really have more of a retention factor, and you really start to see the growth. You really start to evaluate more on different aspects. Because if I was doing this show for money, I could evaluate, okay, how do I make the most? How do I make this more marketable? How do I make this more promotable? And that's kind of the sense that I'm gearing towards if I'm thinking in that way. Where in here, in this avenue of self-exploration, that's really what I want to call it, is self-exploration. That's what you boost up. That's what you work on. I'm not working on marketing or promotability. I'm working on how do I make myself more genuine, while in the process also understanding what I'm speaking on, and also understanding what everyone else is listening for. How do I kind of better myself in this? And I think that's beautiful in the sense of exploring a new avenue, in the sense of exploring something that you never really do. And I know this is something that's more of a New Year's episode, but I feel like as we gear towards the end of the year and Christmas is coming up, this is something that is on everybody's mind so far. Those New Year resolutions are probably already popping in your head, and you want to tell yourself what you're going to do different, what you're going to keep up on. And it's great. I mean, go ahead. There's nothing wrong with thinking ahead and getting ready and prepping. I mean, you have about half a month now to prep, and there's nothing wrong with that. Even if you had like 3 days to prep, there's nothing wrong with that either. Or if you don't have any time and you don't really have anything and you're going to wing it, that's fine. There is no set time frame on when you should jump into something new. I've read stories of 50-year-olds, 60-year-olds that are jumping into the piano for the first time, and they're so glad they did it now, because if they didn't do it, they would have never done it. You hear these stories of people that are way past their prime and yet jump into them like they're still in their 20s. Like they still have all the time left in the world, that they believe they have all the time left in the world. Where here we are at 2025, and we believe that our time's almost up. The quarter life crisis, right? So how is it fair that these kind of, I don't want to say older people, but these people that have already had more time on this world than us, than others, are able to experience new avenues and explore and have fun with it? Well, I don't think it's really a topic of fairness. I think it's just a topic of getting up and doing it. I think it's just a matter of believing what you're able to do and trying it out. I mean, what's so wrong about trying something out, right? I feel like, especially with social media, and I say that phrase a lot, especially with social media, where you see these people post things and they're already so good at it. it can be so deterring because they on camera they look like they're pros, they look like they're professionals. How the hell do they get this? And with celebrities, they're so young and they're so rich and they're so famous. How did they get so great at these things? And why am I not great at it even though I'm their age and I'm starting, and maybe I've only been doing it for a year, 2 years, and so have they, but how did they get to this point? And that's where I say it's not really fair to compare yourself. Everybody has different things. Everybody has a different progression, different interests, different connections, things, resources that they're able to utilize. And it's not really fair for you to compare yourself to them because on camera they look like they're great. On camera they look like they're stars and amazing. But what about behind the scenes, right? What about how long they've been doing it for? What about what it takes for them to get there? Maybe in some cases that's not even them, right? Maybe they're lying, or maybe they're so great at it, but they've been doing it for so long, or their father and their grandfather was this and that. So it's not really fair for you to compare yourself, but it's hard. It's hard not to when it's in your face, when we're in this process of doom scrolling and it's in your face with the next 3 TikTok videos or this Instagram profile that you continue to scroll down because you want to be like them, but you just can't. You don't really know if you can't if you don't try. If you don't go and open your eyes and explore these new avenues and able to tell yourself that you can do it, no matter what it is. It can be something that's incredibly hard and physically tormenting, or mentally challenging and brain fuming, brain steaming, or it can be something very simple, very easy, something that you never really thought you'd like until you tried it. But you don't really know you'll like it until you give it a try. So I think exploring these new avenues, although they are scary, although it is frightening, or maybe it's just one of those things that you don't really have time for, so you put it in the back of your head. And then that's like a whole another topic of prioritization and time management and all this and that. But just give it a shot. Explore these new things. Really understand where your interests lie and go from there. It can be something completely out of left field from the path you're on, from the interest that you're into. Maybe it's something that, like I said, you never really knew you would like. And that's awesome. And that's amazing. Or maybe it's something that's related to what you're doing. Like in this case, coffee. And I never really thought I would own an espresso machine, but now I have one. And it's an avenue that's kind of related to the grand stem of coffee. And I just use it to better myself. I use it to, save some money, but also to be able to tell myself that I can create good drinks with just simple ingredients, with a bean that I like, with milk that I enjoy, and with some flavors that I have. Maybe I add sugar, maybe I don't. Maybe I top it off with salt, maybe I top it off with cinnamon. In this case, maybe I top it off with an ube foam. These explorations of new avenues are amazing. And they build up who you are. But I feel like using them as extensions of who you are is kind of more what they're used for. Make yourself seem more interesting. Doesn't matter to anybody else but to you. Make yourself more satisfied in who you are. And satisfaction is something we all kind of strive for. So why not really just give it a shot? So thank you again, everybody, for listening to today's episode of The Roasted Mind. I'm so glad you guys are here again. We're coming up on the new year. It's going to be great. It's going to be crazy. I turned 25 the 4 days after the new year, and I feel like the crisis is coming on. So thank you, everybody, for listening, and I'll see you all next week. All right. Take care. Bye.